Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Jessica, and as you can tell by the title of this video, today I'm doing an update on my 2022 Pan That palette, which is none other than the ABH Modern Renaissance palette. I know, so original. I'm a little bit late in my update this month, so I apologize for that, but I wanted to go ahead and get this update out for you all the same. I'm gonna try and get back on track, which might mean less progress in the next update, but it is what it is. Today is June 16th, so I am very late. That is okay. I'm still gonna update you on all the progress I've made on my Pan That palette over the last about 5.5 weeks. And we do have some exciting updates today. That extra time may have given me a little bit of an extra oomph in the things I get to share with you. I'm filming from a new angle today. I tried standing in front of my vanity instead of sitting, so you can actually see some of my wall art. You can see my chandelier in the corner, which is a vintage piece from Paris that I'm obsessed with. You can see some of my art. I have a tendency for bird paraphernalia, big bird lover. And you also can see a few pieces, like this is a piece of art that my mother did, and some pieces from my grandmother. You can see my beautiful vanity and my little rose from my husband, and this really cool Art Nouveau mirror that I love. Lots of cool things. Oh, my Mardi Gras mask. So yeah, I hope you're enjoying this different angle. I just wanted to try something new, so let me know what you thought about it in the comments. If you don't like it, we can go back to the original angle, but I feel like every angle that I do in these videos is different every time. I can never get a repeat angle, I swear, no matter what I try. It always just is the best angle I can get that day. That's how it seems to play out. Here's what my palette was looking like last month, and I had a few goals I was trying to reach in the month of May, mainly to use up tempera and to hit pan on those two remaining shades I have that didn't have pan, which were Real Gar and Venetian Red. So here is what my palette is looking like this month. So as you can see, I did in fact finish up tempera like I was hoping. And those two shades that were without pan, I now have pan in Real Gar. Still nothing in Venetian Red. Didn't really make much of a dip on that over the past 5 weeks, but I was able to make good progress on a couple of the shades in here. So let's go ahead and go through each shade individually. I'll tell you how many times I use them and show you what they looked like last month in comparison to this month. So as I already told you, that first shade tempera, this is what it was looking like last month. It had a little bit along the edges, and my goal was to finish it up. I used it 12 additional times to fully empty it, making for a total of 109 uses in this project. So that's how much it took me to go from that little pan all the way to an empty pan, which is a lot of uses, especially for such a powdery formula. I just don't really tend to use matte cream shades very often, or at least not in that big of a quantity when I do use them. But there you go, 109 uses later, we have our first empty pan, which is very exciting. And it only took me 6 months to get there, but we did get there, and now we have just other shades to focus on, and I can actually work on other cream shades in my collection as well, so that is great. Next shade is Golden Ochre. Here's what this shade was looking like last month after 19 uses. And in the past month, I've used this shade 13 more times for a total of 32 uses in this project. And I'm hoping that you will see some expansion in that shade. This is a shade that's been very easy for me to reach for, easier than I thought it would be. I mean, it's pretty much the same shade as my skin. It's not quite deep enough to be a crease transition, but it's nice for buffing out edges and just softening those creases a little bit when you're using those darker mattes in there. So that's mainly what I use it for. This one is getting more use than I thought it would, and I hope to gradually keep expanding that pan further and further without too much effort. The next shade in the palette is Vermeer. Here's what it was looking like last month after 48 uses. And in the past month, I only used this an additional 7 times, which is less than I thought I would do. After 55 uses, that is where we are at with Vermeer today. I think you'll still be able to see a little bit of an expansion in that pan. And when I do reach for this, I grab just a small amount, so not surprised that you might not see much change in there, but I do intend on focusing on that pretty soon, using it as a highlight whenever it fits my makeup look and making some rapid progress on that shade in the next coming months, hopefully even in the next update. The next shade is Buon Fresco, and I kind of took a break on this shade in the past month. I had used it 32 times in this project, and it was looking like this. And in the past month, I used this 4 additional times, making for a total of 36 uses in this project. And I doubt you'll see much of a difference in the pan, but maybe a little bit, and every little bit counts, right? We're just gonna keep plugging away with that shade and we'll see how far we get on that one. It is one of my favorite shades in the palette, so if I'm able to make a significant dent on it, I'll be happy with that, and I don't think it'll be hard to do. The next shade is Antique Bronze, and here's what it was looking like last month after 5 uses in this project. Only 5. This one's kind of been on the back burner during this project, and it continues to stay on the back burner because in the past month, I used it a grand total of 0 times. So you're not gonna see any difference on that pan today, and that's okay with me. We'll get to it. I will try and focus on it at some point. It's kind of a dark shadow for summer and springtime, so hopefully in the fall, winter months, I can get some more consistent use on Antique Bronze. Next, we have Love Letter, and the same story is true for Love Letter. Here's what it was looking like last month after 13 total uses in this project, and again, with this item, I used it 0 times, so the pan should be exactly the same. I just really put a lot of effort into hitting pan on that shadow, and once I did, I wanted to take a break. So again, no big deal there. We'll get back to that one when the feeling arises. And Love Letter and Venetian Red are so similar that I'm not super hopeful on getting significant pans on those 2 shadows in particular as we move through this project, and I'm okay with that. I just want to use as much of this eyeshadow palette as possible. We don't have to use every little bit. But I do want to experiment in wearing these 2 as blushes. So if any of you out there have tried that, let me know in the comments below how it went for you, what strategies you used to make it look good on the cheek. I'm interested in hearing any progress you've made that way. The last shade in that top row is Cypress Umber, and last month it was looking like this after 38 uses, and in the past month I've only used it an additional 2 times, so I doubt the pan will look much different, but here it is today. And maybe the shape has changed just slightly, but I highly doubt it. And I've just kind of neglected this whole little corner row up here. I've really been focusing on these kind of shades over here. We might get back to this one when I use it in my eyebrows. I'm kind of getting a little tired with the eyebrow product I'm currently using, so I might get some more progress on it by using it in my brows in the next couple of months. I've been going back and forth between using these eyeshadow shades and using my brow pomade that I'm panning. So I might swing back over to this side pretty soon and make some more progress on that pan. Moving down to the bottom row, we have Raw Sienna, and here's what it was looking like last month after 15 total uses in the project. And in the past month, I've used it an additional 7 times, and here's what it's looking like today. I'm not sure how much more of the pan you'll see, but hopefully a little bit. And 7 uses is not great, but it's not bad either. I'm hoping to continue just to reach for this one naturally as well and let that pan expand as it will. These 3 mattes are definitely like my workhorses in this palette, so I will no doubt be reaching for that quite frequently as we continue on in this Pan That Palette project. Next, we have Burnt Orange, probably my favorite matte in the palette. Last month, it was looking like this after 31 uses, and in the past month, I've used it 10 additional times, which is one of the higher numbers that I have this month, and here's what it's looking like today. And I definitely think you will see a bigger pan here. I'm excited to just keep getting this pan bigger and bigger and bigger. It's one that has been really fun to watch. I just love this shade. I love wearing it. I actually do have it on today in my upper part of the crease. It's just the perfect neutral transition shade for me, and I love reaching for it. It's just an easy go-to, and I love knowing it's there. The next shade is Primavera, and this is one that I am super happy with the progress I have made this past month. Last month it was looking like this after 45 uses in this project, and in the past month I've used it an additional 17 times, which is the highest number of any of these shadows, making for a total of 62 total uses in this project. And here's what it's looking like today. And hopefully you can see that it is getting quite close to the edges here. There is definitely some receding happening on the sides. It's getting quite low, and I've been using this as a highlighter here and there. I actually have it on as a highlight today, and I find it to be pretty easy to wear that way. It's nice and blendable. It's not too loud, but it does give a nice little shimmer. Actually, maybe even prefer it as a highlight because as an eyeshadow, I don't find it to have quite the sparkle that I'm looking for, especially for like the inner corner or like the inner part of the lid. Typically, I want something a little bit more, with a little more pizzazz, a little more glimmer than this one. I love it as a highlight though. So I'm gonna continue to use it that way during these summer months as a nice golden highlight when I am more tan in my skin. And I think that hopefully by next month, I can finish this. What do you think? Can I finish this in the next month? It's really gonna be more like 3 weeks with how late this update is, but I'm gonna continue to use it as that highlight and see what damage I'm able to make. And hopefully I have an exciting update for you in the next update. Next we have Red Ochre, and this is another disappointing shade to share with you. I've used it 8 total times in this project. Here's what it was looking like after 8 uses last month. And in the last month, I've only used it a total of 0 times. So yeah, same sad story with that one. The pan is probably gonna look exactly the same, and that's fine. I'm gonna try and get some more use on that one soon, but for now, I'm happy with just the progress that I'm making, like I said, on this side of the palette. So in the fall months, I think that one will be one that I'm reaching for a little bit more often. And depending on what I roll into my Pan Those Eyeshadows videos, this could be more appropriate with some of those shades that I'm pulling in. So I'm gonna make an effort on this one the next month. I'm gonna try and at least use all those shades 2 times or something, so they're not completely neglected. And hopefully that'll help me just to feel more motivated in reaching for shades that I kind of forget about a little bit more often. The next shade is Venetian Red, and here's what it was looking like last month after 12 uses in this project. And my goal was to hit pan on this shade in the past month, and unfortunately, as you can see, I did not reach pan. I used it an additional 2 times during this past month, and here's what it's looking like today. So it definitely is getting a little bit of a dip in that middle part of the shadow. This shadow is very pigmented. It takes a very small amount of product to get your desired effect most of the time, for what I'm going for at least. And it's gonna be a ways till I hit pan. So that was kind of a lofty goal, to hit pan on that shadow in 1 month, especially, I don't know, I'm just kind of burnt out on the pinks, magentas in this palette for now. So I'm going to just kind of give myself some grace there. I'm gonna try and reach for it at least 5 times, let's say that, in the next month, so that I'm definitely getting more of a dip in that shade. And I do tend to use this in the outer corner, so those more pinpointed, smaller, denser brushes are definitely gonna help me to meet that goal of pan ultimately. So that's the last lonely shade in here without pan. It's a stubborn little beauty, but hopefully in the next couple months, we can successfully get pan on that final shade. The next shade is Warm Taupe, and I had just hit pan on this in the last update. After 35 total uses, it was looking like this. It had a small little pin prick pan in there. I only reached for it 2 times as an eyeshadow, and I don't know if you'll see much of a difference there. Maybe slightly bigger, because I believe I did reach with a fluffy brush once or twice. I was using this mostly in the brows, and I took a break from using these shadows in the brows, as I just said. So I will get back to that shade as well. I think in the winter, fall months, that one will be really fun to reach for. And when I'm reaching for those 2 shades for my brows, you'll get an expansion that way as well. So hopefully in the next month, I can make a little bit more progress on it. I'm not too worried about it though. I'm just kind of seeing where this palette draws me and going through this process very organically. The last shade we have is Realgar, and that was one of my goal shades for the past month. My goal was to hit pan on it, and as you can see, I did in fact meet that goal, and it felt so good. After 20 total uses in this project, this is what that shadow was looking like. It still was not even close to a pan. It had maybe a small dip in it. So after 10 more uses, I did finally hit pan. I actually think I hit pan after 8 more uses, but I've used it a couple times since then, and here's what it's looking like today. I hope that this pan will continue to expand during these summer months. I love this shade, and I love oranges in the summer. Continuing into the fall, when those warm tones are what you want to reach for. Every time I reach for this shade, it was for a very small amount of product because it is so pigmented. I do have this in my crease today as like the deepening shade in my crease just above the blue, and I love it. It's quite neutral and wearable. You can pair it with warm tones, cool tones. You also can make it look quite bright orange, but also quite soft when you want to. That is my second goal met, so I'm very happy. I met 2 of my 3 goals. I finished tempera and I hit pan on Realgar, and I did use Venetian red at least 2 more times. Didn't get close to my goal, but I will have a pan on it before this project is through, I promise you. Last month, this palette was weighing 184.25 grams, and this month it's weighing 183.89 grams. So I've used 0.36 grams of total product in the past 5 weeks, and that is not quite the same amount of progress I've made in previous months since I've been tracking. Last month I had used 0.39 grams, so we almost got there, but not quite. I gave this palette a little bit of a bath right before I filmed this update, and I think some of the moisture might even still be in here because for a while it was weighing more than it did last month until I let it dry, and now we are at probably a more accurate weight, but it could still be a little bit damp, so maybe that progress is a little bit more than we think it is or that we can measure. I had to go ahead and start filming, so I don't really know for sure, but there you have it. And we'll see how much progress I can make next time. It's kind of fun tracking these numbers like this. I am a numbers person, I enjoy it. So let me know if you do as well. My goal for the next update is going to be a usage goal. I want to try and use every shade at least 2 times. I think I should be able to do that. This is my first time doing a goal like that, so I'm not quite sure how it'll play out, but hopefully that'll get me to reach for every single shade in here. I think I could do that without too much difficulty. I'm also gonna try and finish up Primavera. That might be shooting for the moon, but we're gonna see. If I can really devote myself to this shade, use it as a highlighter and as an inner corner highlight on a almost daily basis, I think I should be able to use it up completely, if not get very, very close. So wish me luck on that goal. I'm also gonna try and reach for Venetian red 5 times instead of just the 2 for the other shades. And hopefully that will help me to get just a further dip on there, maybe even a pan depending on what brush I'm using. So look forward to some pink looks in the next few weeks, and hopefully those aren't too difficult for me to accomplish. So there you have it. That is my update for my Pan That palette. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm having a lot of fun with this project. It's really interesting to see how much product I really can use if I just put my efforts into it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you are panning this palette or have panned this palette or are panning any palette this year, let me know in the comments below. Let me know how it's going for you. Let me know how you're feeling at this halfway point. I'm still feeling pretty good. I'm not sick of this palette yet, and I'm loving seeing the progress from month to month get further and further along. So we are in a good place right now. Who knows how we'll feel in a couple months. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my Project Pan updates. I hope you're doing really well out there, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!